Hello Army. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for supporting my story. I need your support to grow more in this field. Please subscribe and support my YouTube channel. Also comment down my mistakes and alterations you would like me to do in the upcoming episodes. Disclaimer. This story has nothing to do with the real life of the members. This story is completely from my imagination. The images are taken from Pinterest and Google. Yoongi clutched a crumpled list in his hand. Jimin, retrieve these medicines from the medical room, he instructed, his voice steady despite the clear line of tension around his mouth. Okay. Hung. Jimin chirped, his usual boundless energy now focused on his task as he practically flew out the door. He understood the unspoken urgency. When Tae was sick, everything else became secondary. A few tense moments later, Jimin reappeared, his arms laden with an assortment of boxes, glass vials, and plastic bottles. He carefully placed them on the table. Hung, here are the medicines. Without a word, Yoongi and Hobi, moving with the practiced ease of those who'd done this many times, began preparing the injections and an IV drip. The metallic click of syringe caps, the soft rip of packaging, and the quiet gurgle of liquid being drawn into barrels filled the sudden, expectant silence. Each sound seemed amplified in the hushed room, a drumbeat counting down to what was coming. It was the sight of the gleaming needles, catching the stark overhead light, that finally broke Tae's fragile calm. His voice, usually a deep, strong rumble, was now a thin, shaky plea that tugged at their hearts. Hung, please, no injections. I'll take tablets or syrups, please. He shifted uncomfortably on the bed, pulling his long legs up slightly, a childlike, useless attempt to shield himself. His eyes, usually sparkling with mischief, were wide and hazy with unshed tears and feverish exhaustion. Jin, always the nurturing older brother, moved closer. His hand gently stroked Tae's damp hair off his forehead. Tae, baby, you're a medical student, he reminded him softly, his tone empathetic, almost a whisper of reason against Tae's rising panic. You know very well how important injections are for you right now. Your fever is spiking, your body's exhausted from vomiting, and we need to get these medications into your system quickly and effectively. But, Hyungi, Tae began, a fresh wave of nausea making him clench his eyes shut. The thought of the piercing needle was almost as bad as the pain in his gut. June, usually the most rational and grounded, stepped in. His voice was firm but not unkind. Tae, we know you're scared, and we hate seeing you like this, but you'll be all right after these. It's just a few moments of discomfort for hours of relief. We just need to get through this. Be quiet now. His gaze was steady, a silent reassurance mixed with an unyielding resolve. Yeah, Hyungi, you'll feel better soon, I promise, Cook added, his own eyes wide with genuine concern for his beloved Hung. He reached out, hesitantly patting Tae's knee through the thin pajama fabric, a small, comforting gesture. A deep, shaky sigh escaped Tae's lips. He murmured, his body slumping further against the pillow, the last bit of his resistance draining away. He felt utterly depleted, too exhausted to fight, too sick to even properly protest. His face was flushed, clammy with sweat, and his breath came in shallow, ragged gasps. Yoongi picked up the first prepared syringe, his gaze gentle but unwavering. Tae, turn around, he instructed, his voice low, calm, but leaving absolutely no room for negotiation. His movements were fluid and precise, showing no hesitation. Hung, can you give it on my shoulder muscle? Tae tried one last, desperate attempt, his voice barely audible, thick with misery. He hated injections, but the idea of one in his gluteal muscle, especially with his brothers watching, felt even more humiliating. Hobie sighed. A mixture of gentle exasperation and deep sympathy etched on his face. "TAE, you know what the answer will be. We need the larger muscle mass for these particular medications to be absorbed correctly and quickly. Your arm isn't big enough for these doses. TAE, no more arguments. Turn around," Yoongi stated firmly, his hand already reaching to gently guide Tae's shoulder. TAE started again, a fresh wave of panic making him flinch, but his words were cut off abruptly as June's voice boomed, sharp and decisive, filled with an authority, "Tae." The single, powerful word hung in the air, echoing the absolute finality of the situation. It was a clear boundary, and Tae knew, instinctively, he had crossed it. Tae flinched, his shoulders slumping in complete surrender. His entire body felt heavy, his limbs thick with fatigue. "At least tell me how many injections I need," he mumbled into the pillow, his voice muffled, a desperate attempt to regain some control over the terrifying situation. Hobie stepped forward, speaking quickly, trying to soften the impending reality. "It's 3 injections. One for the fever, one for the nausea and vomiting, and another for the stomach pain. And then an IV for your exhaustion and dehydration. We'll get fluids and vitamins into you." Jin knelt beside him, his hand returning to stroke Tae's hair, a soft, comforting rhythm. "Now, no more talking. Turn around, baby. The faster we start, the faster it's over, and the sooner you'll feel better." With a deep, shaky breath that hitched in his chest, Tae slowly turned over onto his stomach, burying his face in the pillow, tears already silently tracing warm paths down his temples onto the cool fabric. Jimin, seeing his twin's utter distress, gently helped him lower his pajama pants and underwear, just enough to expose the pale skin of his right butt cheek. Yoongi, his movements professional and practiced, took an alcohol swab and wiped the skin with a cool, decisive swipe. The cold liquid made Tae shiver involuntarily, a small, helpless tremor. Then, slowly, deliberately, he inserted the first syringe. Tae let out a small, sharp gasp, a sound of surprise more than pain. "Ah!" His body tensed instantly, a visible tremor running through his frame. He squeezed his eyes shut, his knuckles white as he gripped the edge of the bed. "It's okay. It's done, Tae," Hobie murmured, his hand resting lightly on Tae's lower back, a grounding presence. This first dose was standard, and the initial discomfort quickly faded, leaving only a dull ache. Tae didn't cry out further, just clenched his fists tighter, bracing himself. Yoongi withdrew the first syringe, the air hissing faintly as the plunger came to a stop. Without a moment's hesitation, he picked up the second, larger syringe and immediately administered it, choosing a spot slightly higher and more central on the same side. This medication was thicker, the fluid viscous, and the injection felt agonizingly slow, the plunger pushing against greater resistance. The pain hit Tae with a sudden, intense wave, a deep, burning ache that spread through the muscle. "Ah! It's hurting a lot. Please take it out," Tae screamed, his voice raw with agony, his legs twitching violently against the sheets. He tried to pull away, to arch his back, anything to escape the burning sensation. Tears burst forth, wetting the pillow beneath him in great, spreading stains. Cook, watching from the side, felt a sharp pang in his chest, a mirror of his Hung's pain. "Hyungi, it'll be over soon. Please calm down," he pleaded. His own voice tight with empathy, his hand instinctively reaching out to gently stroke Tae's arm. Yoongi's brow furrowed in deep concern, but his hand remained utterly steady, his focus entirely on the needle. "Sorry, Baby, please bear with it a little longer. This one's a heavier dose. It needs to go in slowly to prevent bruising and ensure proper absorption. He spoke through slightly gritted teeth, his gaze fixed, unwavering, on the injection site. The plunger moved agonizingly, minutely, slowly. Ah! Tae cried out again, his entire body rigid with pain, a guttural sound that tore from his throat. He dug his nails into the bed, whimpering. Finally, with a soft sigh of relief, Yoongi pulled out the syringe, the last drop of medication delivered. Done. Only one more left, Tae. Almost there, baby. It will be over soon. He gently pressed another alcohol swab to the throbbing injection site. Tae, his body still trembling uncontrollably, whimpered, his voice barely audible now. Hyungi, it's hurting so much. Please, I'll take the other one after a while. Just a little break, please. He desperately yearned for even a moment's reprieve, a chance to breathe and let the agony subside. It's okay, Tae, we will make it fast. I promise, Jin said, gently pushing away a damp strand of hair from Tae's forehead. Please bear with it, baby. Let's get it all done now, and then you can rest properly. Before Tae could protest further, before he could even gather the strength to form another plea, Yoongi had already moved with practiced speed. He quickly cleaned the left side, his touch firm and efficient, making it clear there would be no delay. This time, knowing the pain would be intense, he inserted the syringe faster, a quick, sharp stab designed to get it over with as quickly as possible. Ah! Hyungi! Tae shrieked, his voice cracking with pure pain. He writhed violently on the table, trying to twist away, to escape the piercing, spreading fire in his muscle. Please make it fast, Hung. Please. Tae, don't move, Yoongi warned, his voice stern, edged with a rare urgency. The needle will break if you do. Jimin and Hobie instinctively placed their hands lightly but firmly on Tae's legs and back, not to hold him down forcefully, but to offer a steadying, comforting presence, to prevent him from injuring himself further. Finally, with a soft sigh of ultimate relief that everyone in the room seemed to echo, Yoongi withdrew the needle. It's done. I'm sorry, baby. He immediately discarded the syringe and pulled Tae into a tight, comforting embrace, rocking him gently as Tae's heart-wrenching sobs slowly began to subside, turning into shuddering, exhausted breaths against Yoongi's shoulder. The room felt heavy with the lingering echo of Tae's cries, but also with the immense relief that it was finally over. After what felt like an eternity, Tae's breathing finally evened out, and his trembling body relaxed completely against Yoongi. He had finally succumbed to sleep in his Hung's arms, utterly exhausted from the ordeal of pain and illness. Hobie, ever practical, spoke softly, his voice still low and hushed. He's asleep, Hung. Gently lay him on the bed. Let's administer the IV before he wakes up completely, so he doesn't have to go through more discomfort. Yoongi carefully transferred Tae to the comfortable bed, adjusting the pillow beneath his head and tucking a warm blanket securely around his shivering form. He then prepared the IV bag, the clear liquid shimmering faintly under the soft medical light. He carefully cleaned the back of Tae's left palm with an alcohol swab, the cold brief on his skin, before skillfully inserting the thin, flexible IV needle. Tae stirred slightly in his sleep, a soft, sleepy hiss escaping his lips, his brow furrowing for a fleeting moment. It's over, baby. Sleep tight, Yoongi whispered, his voice thick with a mixture of relief and lingering concern, gently stroking Tae's forehead with his thumb. He stayed by the bedside for a long moment, watching Tae's pale, peaceful face, memorizing the gentle rise and fall of his chest. Jin, who had been quietly observing, his own face etched with worry, finally stood up, a sense of calm returning to his features. Let him sleep now. Everyone go and eat your breakfast. You all look exhausted. I will stay with him here. He glanced at the tired faces of the younger members, knowing they needed sustenance after the stressful, emotionally draining morning. Okay, Hung, the others murmured in unison, relief washing over them in palpable waves as they slowly filed out of the room, leaving Tae to his much-needed, restorative rest under Jin's watchful, loving eye. The quiet hum of the IV pump became the only sound in the room. To be continued. That's it for today. I hope you all like it. Please subscribe and support me. And also please be free to make suggestions to make my writing better.